Hey YouTube, James from the Wyvern Watch here, and welcome to another deck profile. This is another one that I haven't yet profiled yet on the channel, so the first time around. I built this one for really just because I saw the cards come out. When did the cards come out? I think they were on the... Yeah, I think they come out in a few different sets, to be honest with you, but they sort of got a little bit of support fairly recently, and there's a couple of cards in here that sort of grabbed my attention, and I started putting them together, and then eventually I put a deck together. So, and this is my take on it. It's not a competitive deck, Valkyrie, I have to admit, but if you get one of the main plays off, which is sort of the Ride of the Valkyries, Mischief of the Time Goddess combination off, it can be quite potent, but it just doesn't happen that often. It's good fun to play, but like I say, I certainly wouldn't be taking it to locals or anything. But I've just noticed that there aren't too many Valkyrie decks on the YouTube, so I thought, let's put mine on there, see what everyone thinks of it, and go from there, really. So what we'll do is we're going to start something slightly different today, because normally I just go with all the 3-offs first, but I thought what I'll do first is get the sort of big guns out of the way first, and then explain the sort of the smaller ones. So the first one and the newest one is Valkyrie Sigrun. I'm trying to get the accent, the German accent in there. Valkyrie Sigrun. So yeah, this is one of the later additions to the deck, but it sort of really came in straight away as a 3-off. So if this card is in your hand, you can target one face-up spell or trap card you control and send it to the graveyard. And if you do, special summon this card. And if this card is normal or special summoned, you can special summon one level 8 or lower Valkyrie monster from your hand or graveyard. So really, really good sort of A, extender, but B, grabbing one for the graveyard as well is always good news. But yeah, they're all good artwork actually. They're all really good, but they're all on their steeds, of course, as the proper Valkyrie should be. They're all fairy, they're all light. I think it might be my only fairy base deck. There's definitely some other fairies in there, but I think it's the only deck that's solely fairies from memory anyway. But my memory is losing me, so apologies for that. And then the other two big ones, obviously you've got Brunhilde, who is sort of the original sort of boss monster of the deck, shall we say, and then Erda as well. So Brunhilde, yes, there we go, just to show you the artwork on that one. That's the secret rare, of course. I forget what the set's called now. SHVA, it's something Valhalla, isn't it? I'm not sure. But unaffected by opponent's spell effects, full stop, and then gains a 500 attack for each monster your opponent controls. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can have this card lose exactly 1000 defense, and if you do, your Valkyrie monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. So nice little effect there, just to provide a little bit of protection. And then Valkyrie Erda came out a little bit later on, but you can only control one Valkyrie Erda. While you control this card, special summon by the effect of a Valkyrie card, all face-up monsters your opponent controls loses 1000 attack, and any card destroyed by a battle or by card effect that would be sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. So not an amazing effect, hence only being at 1. But like I say, I wanted to run all the names. But those are sort of the bigger boss monsters, shall we say. Now, so onto the sort of smaller ones. And I say some smaller ones, but some of these are obviously higher levels. It's always a bit, the names are a bit odd, because I looked them all up because they're all German names, of course. These are sort of the ones I'm about to show you. But Erster means first, and then Zitter is second, Dritter is third, but then obviously the levels don't correlate. So you've got level 6, but Erster, which is first, level 5 Zwitter, level 5, that's another Zwitter, level 4 Dritter, which is the third, of course, Werter is fourth, which is level 3, Funft is 5th at level 2, and then Sech is level 1, of course, which is the 6th. So I don't know why they've done it like that, but they have. I appreciate it, to be honest with you. It's I like having a little bit of rhyme and reason to the card naming. But Valkyrie Erster, just the one on this one. So if this card is special summoned from your hand by a spell effect, you can target one Mischief of the Time Goddess in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And if you control a Valkyrie monster other than Valkyrie Erster, quick effect, you can banish one monster of your opponent's graveyard. Then this card's attack becomes equal to the banished monster's original attack until the end of this turn. So that's just the one Erster. I think I'd probably have it higher if it wasn't for the level 6, but obviously we want to try and special summon it from the hand. Valkyrie Zwitter, or the second. I've got 2 of these. So if this card is summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls, destroy it. After damage calculation, if this card battles, you can target one continuous spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand. So again, just a little bit of recursion for some of the spells coming up. And then 3 Valkyrie Dritter. I think this is probably the more famous one from the anime, in fairness. So if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one Valkyrie card from deck to hand, except Valkyrie Dritter. You can only use the effect of Valkyrie Dritter once per turn, and this card gains 200. So it gains 200 attack for each of your opponent's banished monsters. So again, not an amazing effect, but it does search the deck, of course, so that's good. And we've also got 3 Valkyrie Vieta, the 4th. So during your main phase, you can excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of other Valkyrie monsters you control, and if you do, add one excavated normal spell or trap card to your hand. Also send the remaining cards to the graveyard. Otherwise, shuffle all excavated cards into the deck. When this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one Valkyrie monster from your deck, and it's only once per turn, of course. Valkyrie Vita, and just the one Thumph, which again is one of the newer ones. Valkyrie monsters you control gain 200 attack for each of your opponent's banished monsters, and if you control a Valkyrie monster other than Valkyrie Thumph, you can send one spell trap card from your deck to the graveyard. Fairly simple stuff. And then last but not least is 3 Valkyrie Sect, I think it is. Sechta. I'm not sure on the pronunciation, to be honest with you. But if this card is special summoned, you can special summon one Valkyrie monster from your deck, except Valkyrie Secht. During your main phase, you can send the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard, and then you can only use the effect once per turn. So yeah, that was one of the nicer ones when it got launched not too long ago. And then just a couple of support cards. So we've got 2 Archlord Christia and 1 Protecting Spirit Logaeth. Logaeth. Christia we all know, but I'll run through it anyway. But Protecting Spirit Logaeth, if this card is on the field, is destroyed by a battle card effect, you can target one monster on the field. It cannot be destroyed by a battle this turn. You can only use each of the following effects of Logaeth once per turn. If an effect of a fairy monster you control is activated, except during the damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only target one face-up card your opponent controls and one attack position monster you control. Banish the opponent's card, and if you do, change the monster to defense position. I thought a nice little addition for the Valkyrie deck. That's what I'm doing here. And a couple of Archlord Christias. So if you have had exactly 4 fairy type monsters in your graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And if summoned this way, target one fairy monster in your graveyard and add that target to your hand, and then neither player can special summon monsters. If this face-up card would be sent to the field to the graveyard, place it on the top of the deck instead. Sorry guys, I just noticed that you can just see I've been decorating last night, so I've got paint still all over my fingers that won't come off. So yeah, I thought Christia, obviously, had 2 of on that one, quite suitable for the deck. Now that's it for main deck monsters. Moving on to spells, and these next couple of cards, well certainly the next few are the reason why I built this deck, because the artwork is just unbelievable. So we've got Ride of the Valkyries, that's 3 of course. Absolutely stunning looking card, it really is. but with quite a unique effect. So special summon any number of Valkyrie monsters with different names from your hand. If you special summon 3 or more monsters with this effect, you take no battle damage until the end of the next turn. During the end phase of the turn you activate this card, shuffle all monsters you control back into the deck. You can banish this card from the graveyard and add 1 Mischief of the Time Goddess from your deck to your hand. So it's, again, a really quick searcher for Mischief of the Time Goddess, which we'll get to in one moment. The only other 3 of, before we get to Mischief, is Celestial Transformation, which we're also running 3 of. Quick play spell, special summon 1 fairy monster from your hand. That monster's attack is halved, also destroyed during the end phase. Fairly simple effect, but obviously we're hoping to gain advantage and go for the quick attack if that's what we're doing, or indeed using perhaps the extra deck to go with something different. But the main girl herself, Mischief of the Time Goddess, this is sort of the main piece of the puzzle that keeps it spinning. I've got it at 2, mainly because obviously Ride will search it anyway. But neither player can activate cards or effects in response to this card's activation. Cannot be activated as Chain Link 2 or higher. And at the end of your battle phase, if all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters, minimum 1, send this card to the graveyard. Also, immediately after this effect resolves, skip to the start of the battle phase of your next turn. If you do, you cannot activate Mischief of the Time Goddess until the end of that turn. Last line obviously meaning that you can't go ahead and activate another one straight after that first battle phase or the second battle phase. But essentially means you're going to get 2 battle phases, and of course if you've got a whole full field of Valkyrie monsters, whether they're going to get destroyed at the end phase or not, Mischief skips to the battle phase, so that we skip the end phase, so they're not destroyed, and then they obviously go ahead and attack. So yeah, really nice combination, and a beautiful card, of course. Not that easy to get off, but not that easy to get off well, I should say, but still great fun to try. A few 2-ofs, so we've got Valhalla Hall of the Fallen. So once per turn you can special summon 1 fairy monster from your hand. You must control no monsters to activate and resolve this effect, so that's obviously a continuous spell. Valkyrie's Embrace, also at 2-of. So if all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters, target 1 attack position Valkyrie monster you control and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Change the monster to defense position, and if you do, banish that opponent's monster. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn. You activate this card, except Valkyrie monsters. Fairly simple stuff, but nice, obviously fitting with the theme. Also, 2 Final Light, which is a nice little card as well. So pay life points in multiples of 1,000, then target 1 Valkyrie monster in your graveyard with a different name for every 1,000 life point paid. Special summon them. Your opponent cannot special summon monsters with 2,000 or less attack from their graveyard up to the... Then your opponent can special summon monsters with 2,000 or less attack from their graveyard up to the number of monsters that you special summon by this effect. You can only activate 1 Final Light per turn. It's a little bit like a Soul Charge, that, isn't it? Then I also wanted to play the goddesses themselves. So we've got 2 Goddess School Oracle and 1 Verdamned and 1 Erd. So these all work in combination with each other. Again, can be a little bit bricky, but I just thought if you're going to go ahead and build this deck anyway, you may as well do it properly. But School's Oracle, so when this card is activated, if all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters, minimum 1, you can add 1 Goddess Verdamned guidance from your deck to hand. And then once per turn, during your main phase, you can look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck, and if you do, place them on top of their deck in any order. You cannot normal or special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except fairy monsters. So that obviously Oracle then searches guidance. When this card is activated, if all monsters you control are Valkyrie monsters, minimum 1, and you can add 1 Goddess Erd's Verdict from deck to hand. And then once per turn, you can declare 1 type of card, monster, spell or trap, reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, And if it was the declared type, they send it to their field. They set it to their field. Sorry. Reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if it was the declared type, they set it to their field. Otherwise, they add it to their hand. And then obviously that card's then searched verdict out of your deck. So your opponent cannot target Valkyrie monsters you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Once per turn, you declare one card name, then target one set card your opponent controls and reveal the set card. And if it was the declared card, banish it. Otherwise, banish one card you control. So it's a long-winded way of banishing a card, but what it does do is obviously thins your deck out, because that one searches that one, and obviously you'll set them to a field. There are cards that use continuous spells as cost, so you can obviously make use of it once they're all on. But yeah, I mean, obviously if your opponent's not getting rid of it, you can actually do that once per turn. So, you know, excavate, obviously you're looking at the 3 cards in your opponent's top of the deck anyway, so that gives you a little bit of information. You then get to set the card that you've basically selected, and then obviously banish it using Erd's Verdict. So it's a bit of a gimmick, but it's a nice little gimmick, and I wanted to make sure it was in there. Last of the main deck, just a couple of one-offs. Obviously 1-for-1 for Valkyrie Sect, whatever it is. And of course, just a Monster Reborn as well, as per usual, always useful. So like I say, that is the main end of the main deck. Just going in quickly through the extra deck, because there's nothing Valkyrie based in here. This is just whatever you want to throw in there. I'll just go through what I've sort of chosen to add. But I've got a Phantom Knights, a Breaksword, 1 Tornado Dragon, of course, for the was my staple rank 4, as we all know. I've got 1 Time Thief Redoer, 1 number 61 Volcasaurus, and 1 Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger. That's it for my XCs lineup. You know, so it's just a few bits basically. You're not always going to go into it, but it's just there if you need it. I've also got, obviously the rest of it's all Link monsters, so we'll just go through them. Hip House Shinnigan, obviously the whole deck's light and is actually a fairy as well, so I thought fairly prudent. My staple or Link 2 Phoenix, and on this occasion the Cerberus as well, and on this occasion the Unicorn. We've also gone for 1 Crusader Equimax, 1 Gaia Saber, the Lightning Shadow. Move those up a little bit and then I'll run through the rest of them. 1 Celestial Night Lord Parshath, 1 Ningirsu with a World Chalice Warrior, 1 Mech Knight Crusader Avramax, and 1 Borrowed Dragon. Fairly simple lineup, guys. You've seen most of these before. I've just really selected cards that are sort of, I feel like it might be even slightly relevant. I mean, Gaia Saber's in here just because he's on a horse. So, for instance, that's the kind of reckoning that I'm going with. But you guys might want to apply a little bit more rhyme or reason to that. But guys, that is it for my Valkyrie deck profile. So thank you for making it all the way to the end. I really appreciate your guys' support as usual. Thank you for the subs recently, as the numbers are going up, so thank you very much for those who have subscribed. Please do keep doing that, especially if you're new to the channel. And the comments, like I said, keep saying, guys, the comments are super important. I don't know whether I've done well with this build or not, but I know it's not a competitive deck, so there's not a load of competitive cards in it. Excuse me, but do please tell me so anyway. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you for the next profile. Bye.